Now, I thought I would return us to the original series with this particular Playmates piece because I got this from the States actually. I'd nearly forgotten that I'd got it through, but here it is. And it's quite unusual from Playmates this, because it actually includes an action figure. So they actually put a very sort of old version of Kirk in here, and according to my Playmates guide, it's actually an exclusive to this box. So if you don't have this shuttle, you don't get this version of Kirk, apparently. Now, I don't know if that's definitely the case. But if you notice, you might be able to see here, his collar here is a sort of ribbed collar, whereas normally they have black collars in the most of it, in the later episodes of the season. So I think this shuttle and this episode that it's derived from, where no man has gone before, is the sort of second pilot, in effect, of the original series of Star Trek. So that's probably why they hadn't quite settled the uniform at this point. So I think that would explain why, given the tie-in with the episode here, this is an unusual version of the Kirk uniform, basically. So as you can see, this is a classic Star Trek 30th anniversary series, 1966 and 1996. Now, as far as I'm aware, Playmates didn't do any other 30th anniversary series tie-ins as such, and they only had a couple of years of their license left to go at this point. So this is actually one of their later releases from the original Playmates line. So we've got Captain James Kirk boards the original Galileo shuttlecraft, mentioned down here. Authentic replica of the original Galileo shuttlecraft from where no man has gone before. Includes exclusive Captain Kirk action figures, actually just says, confirms that on the box. Opens to reveal highly detailed cockpit and co-pilot compartments. Features a removable spring-powered laser cannon, which I hadn't really noticed before, but I did just read in the guidebook. So let's have a quick look at the back and see what it thinks with it. We've got presumably more of the same. The top flap there is basically another redo of that text and those images. And then the shuttlecraft does fit 2 Star Trek action figures, apparently. I think one goes in the back. So if you remember, the Runabout had that approach to life as well. So the Runabout, and in fact, possibly the Goddard shuttle, had space in the back and the front. So you could do more than one figure in it, basically, which is quite clever. So, Galileo Shuttlecraft Captain's Log, Stardate 9613.05, Galileo Shuttlecraft, unclassified. The classic Galileo shuttlecraft is used extensively for extravehicular activities. Equipped with sublight propulsion and atmosphere entry shielding, the shuttlecraft is a short-range transport for both light cargo and personnel. Armed with a phaser and defensive shields, the Galileo can operate in limited combat situations. The Galileo is highly maneuverable and is often used in covert operations where stealth and strength are a deciding factor. Under the control of an experienced shuttle pilot, the Galileo is an undeniable asset in the Federation arsenal. Note, assigned to the main shuttle bay of the USS Enterprise 1701, should be NCC 1701, obviously. The Galileo is often piloted by Captain James Kirk. Can't confirm or deny that. His tactical manoeuvres with the shuttle are documented in the Starfleet Academy database. End report. So we've got an engine nacelle, spring-powered laser cannon, pilot chair. We've got a slight rip on the back, which is annoying. We've got a control panel, an astrogator, scanners, exclusive Captain James Kirk cockpit, main access hatch and rear access hatch. Open the main access hatch to reveal the highly detailed cockpit. Remove the Starfleet laser cannon. Place Captain James Kirk at the controls. Open the rear section of the Galileo shuttlecraft to reveal the co-pilots. Yeah, so they don't sit alongside each other, one sits in the back basically. The engine nacelles open for easy repairs. Lock on target and fire the spring-powered laser cannon. Slide the hatch open for alternative access, which I suspect it. No, I see. Okay, that's interesting actually. So you can actually slide the the side of the cockpit back as well to give yourself more access to the space. That's rather clever, actually. I used to do Lego doors on spaceships like that. I used to put sliding doors in, which in Lego was hilariously complicated, but obviously it's easier if the plastic is thinner. Complete your 30th anniversary classic collection. So there's Dr. McCoy's medical kit, Collector's Series Captain Christopher Pike, that's 9 inch as well, Television from the Cage, Mr. Spock from the Cage, Orion Animal Woman, apparently, from the Cage, and Captain Christopher Pike from the Cage. Okay. So there was some emphasis then on this sort of classic Star Trek 30th anniversary, but perhaps this was the only actual ship from that particular series. So let's have a look and see what I've actually got, because I have literally just opened this, so I don't know what sort of state it's in. I already quite like it. It's got landing feet. I'm loving that. I'm loving that already. Now let's see if I can actually extract it in one go. It's a relatively finite box, I think, so I should be able to do this, he says. Hopefully. What could possibly go wrong? I know. Okay. Alright, there we go. So let's have a look at what we've got here then. Let's land that there. So no stickers applied whatsoever, so it's looking rather plain. We have a nice sealed in Kirk there, so I'm not proposing to extract him, because I think I should probably leave him put. But you can definitely see that he doesn't have that black collar, so this may well be sort of an early version of his uniform in the series, and therefore exclusive to this particular release. And I do also have, tucked in behind him, from the looks of it, a rather extensive set of stickers and instructions various there. So again, I might leave those put as well. I don't really know if I want to have a crack at it, but I do want to have a look at the shuttle itself, obviously. There's also a sort of response card in the packaging there, which makes me chuckle. I suspect it's rather too late to give them feedback on this one, but the thoughts there. So yeah, I mean that's actually quite interesting to my mind, because if you think about the sort of the detailing that often goes on to these, this is expecting you to apply a lot of stickers to it to actually make it appear as it should, and I would question whether or not that's the best approach to take. I mean, it just looks very, very plain without anything on it, and if you get the stickers wrong, you're literally stuck with them for forever after. So let's just see if I can extract this in a sensible fashion. I'll come back to you. Okay, so I'm actually managed to get it out from the packaging without damaging the packaging, which is always nice. In this little bag here, I have the spring-powered laser cannon, clearly. I'm not actually clear whether or not that's supposed to attach to the shuttle itself in some fashion, or if it's just standalone and you sort of store it inside the shuttle, but that might become more apparent. I'm not sure. I mean, I'm hesitant to get the instructions out, just because obviously they're sealed currently, and this is in such nice condition. It's a sort of one where I might just try and keep it sealed. Relatively unusual for me, but it's not what I particularly intend to actually display. So in that sense, I may just leave it as it is. But let's have a look at the play features we've been told about on the box. So we should have a sliding door here, which does indeed slide and is incredibly stiff, but does indeed slide open. So I like that. That's a nice level of detail. I like the fact these old shuttles actually had little winglets. You don't tend to see that on the next generation shuttles, of which of course there were many variations. But you can see that, like those shuttles, these feature sort of nacelles on outriggers, although the information on the box did say that these were not warp-capable shuttles. They seem to be only impulse driven. So I'm assuming that this is more like almost like a sort of solid rocket kind of, get up. So it's fed fuel and it just kind of burns rather than it being an out and out nacelle as such. And we know that this opens up, so you've got a little bit of detailing in there, which is nice. So that's nice attention to detail from them. I like that. Interestingly, unlike I think the runabout, which had wheels on the bottom, this hasn't gone for that. What we've actually got here, to my mild surprise, is landing legs. Now, I don't know if that's show accurate, but I like the fact it's got 3 quite sturdy landing legs, but it does kind of cut down, I suppose, on playability for kids who just want to zoom it about the place. So I suspect this one was aimed at the more serious collector's market side of things. The level of detailing just suggests that to me. They've hidden their screw holes on the inside of the nacelle strips here. I'm going to keep calling them nacelles because I can. So I just wonder if they've taken a little bit more care with this one because they're going for, direct appeal to people who remember the original series. So it might be that. And there's also this ramp actually moves up and down as well. So that ramp was down when I got it out of the box. So obviously that allows you to disembark more easily from there. So you can also then presumably do this, which is just lift the entirety of the front section up. Now, let me just make sure I try and grab it from the right place, perhaps. Oh, interesting. That's interesting. I wasn't expecting that. It looks like it's got almost like a sort of rocket rack there in the front. I don't remember that being mentioned in the box at all. That's interesting. I assume that's what they are. I might be wrong. They might just be innocent lights. I'm not sure, but yeah, that's certainly not a feature I was expecting from it. I assume you're supposed to just get your nails in here and sort of lift, but I'm just wondering if I'm missing something. There are definitely. So maybe it's more of a squeeze and lift. There you go. Yeah, you need to apply a little bit of gentle pressure on the side there. Now, it looks as if there isn't a separate door on this side. I could be wrong about that. But no, there isn't. There isn't another one on that side. It's just on the one side. That's okay, I get that. And this is very similar to the runabout chairs, if you remember those, where they've got sort of the central strap at the bottom there. And you just pop Kirk in there. Now, strangely enough, I've actually got a Spock here. And the Spock has got this exactly the same collar as the Kirk that I've just shown you from the box. So I don't know if I've randomly got exactly the same, sort of second pilot episode version of Spock for no apparent reason. That would be a strange coincidence. But his legs bend in that similarly unhelpful fashion that Worf's did when I was trying to put Worf into one of these seats. So you can see that they would sort of fit in there with the a little bit of wrangling. And in fact, I've put him in the completely wrong order, because what you should do is lift the body restraint up first and then connect them in. So you can see that does kind of work, but it's just a little bit odd because of the way that their hips and knee joints work. But it does ultimately allow you to place him in there quite happily, and there's quite a lot of space in there for him as well. There's no detail on the console yet. I say yet because I would imagine that there are loads of stickers that you can apply on the inside and all around. But again, for my money, if I was a child, I would not want to be messing with stickers in such intricate places, if indeed that is where they're supposed to go. So again, I think very much aimed towards the adult collector side, this one in particular, because it seems to lack the play features that the Runabout had. In that sense, I'm fairly sure the Runabout had some stickers pre-applied as well. So this is interesting. This is a slightly different approach to the Deep Space Nine Runabout that we saw. Now at the back here, what we should then have is, I mean, I like this. That's nice. That's nice access. That was a really positive action. As you can see, neither of those flaps is showing any indication of wanting to fall down. Now, does this move or no? So the chair You can probably see that directly actually, but the chair is just right there in the back, so that's the second co-pilot's chair allegedly. Although you wouldn't get much of a view as the co-pilot if you were sort of stuck in the back there. But it's got a few sort of equipment console bits and bobs there in the back as well to add detail. There's a lot of detail inside, considering it's quite thin plastic. As the edges go, they've put a lot of moulding on the inside to give it more detail, which I appreciate. I appreciate that sort of the effort there, that attention to detail. Now, the other thing that I'm interested in here is that there is a hatched looking assembly on the roof here. I'm just wondering if that is. It feels like that could be separated. It might just be the intent that that's just part of the. Maybe that's just designed to hold the hatch up actually, because there's a little tab on it. So I think maybe that just holds the upper hatch in place. Because I was thinking that might have been where the laser cannon might have actually sort of physically fitted. That's the one thing I'm not sure about without looking at the instructions, is where that laser cannon would have fitted into the grand scheme of the overall design for the shuttle. Maybe it would have just slotted into the back somewhere, and it would have been sort of carried in the back compartment in some way. That's my only slight question mark over how that one sort of little bit of the play features would have worked. Let's have a quick look at the box and see if that casts any more light. No, not really, because oh no, hang on. Okay. So remove the Starfleet laser cannon. So that panel actually shows it as being slotted in on there. So I think it uses this little pin here. I just need my other hand back now. So I think this little pin here is where the laser cannon would fit in. And then you'd actually take it out from there as a sort of point of storage. But that's not going to work with a character in the seat, I don't think. Because I think it would have... I don't know, maybe it just come far enough forwards it wouldn't actually block them off, and you wouldn't be able to see it so well. Although you can see through the panels a little bit with the right angle and sort of direct light on them. So they do actually, although they look black as you're looking at them now, but I think they would actually fit. So I suspect that although I thought that was just a screw hole, I think that would actually take the notch that's on the inside of the sort of the cockpit lifting door there. So you could fit that in and transport that round as part and parcel of the entire toy. So that's clever. That's cleverly done. And you can still see Spock through the side there, just about. So you can see what they're going for with that as a concept. And I do like the level of detail on this is really, really good. I think they've done a lot with it, with limited size options and limited sort of strength options. The only thing that would really make this better is a little bit of light and sound on it. And for a Playmates ship of this era, I would have expected them to have done something a little bit more with it. They could have gone that little tiny extra mile and perhaps found some way to fit a battery compartment into it, so you could have had a little bit of light and sound. Now, in fairness to them, I don't think this would have lit up particularly. Maybe it does in the remastered version of the series, but I don't think that would have been around at this time. So, maybe that's just asking a little bit too much of them. But they're not like the next gen shuttles where they would have lit up and had a bit more about them, So, overall, although it's not the most exciting looking ship ever, it's a bit of a box, let's face it. But it is an accurate box, I feel, because this was the kind of, one of the very, very early shuttlecraft I probably ever actually saw on TV. Because they did actually go to the effort of using them on screen. Even in the original series before it was remastered, these were used. You saw them leaving the hangar even. So, they were a properly thought through concept of having ancillary craft when the transporters were busted or just wouldn't work for whatever reason, So, great idea to have them, because it means, you can expand your range of scenes and everything else. And they fitted quite a few crew as well. They're actually bigger than, ironically, they were bigger than a lot of the Next Generation shuttles on the inside. They were quite spacious. It's not, obviously that's not borne out by the scale of this one, given the figures, but they were quite big ships, because the Enterprise hangar deck was quite generous as well at the back of the ship. So I'm not sure how many of these it carried, but I believe this is marked as number 7. It's marked in the normal way that you see in next gen, where you get the mothership registry on it, and then something denoting which shuttlecraft it is. So they just took that approach with this one as well, with calling it Galileo and marking it as number 7. So I think it's a nice one to have if you happen to be into your shuttles and want to display one. Then great, go for it by all means. But I mean, for me personally, it's not that important a craft to me personally. But ironically, I think one of these does appear in lower decks as a sort of a relic that's impacted an alien race. Because of course, if one of these crash lands, it's a bit of an issue, because it means that you're, if you can't retrieve it with like a tractor beam or something, I suppose, your other option is to blow it up. But then what else, how much more attention does that attract to yourself as a landing party? So, yeah. But I do like the fact they've actually, it looks like here, for example, they've actually gone to the effort of blanking off what would otherwise be screw holes. So they have gone, there's definitely been a lot of thought and consideration given to this to make it more than averagely displayable, which I do appreciate from Playmates, so fair dues to them. So I'm very, 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 very nearly out of ships to show you. I'm just thinking I've got a couple more on the way, actually. One I'm still struggling to get because I can't really justify it, but I'm hoping I'll get a chance to get it at some point. But yeah, I didn't really set out to do all of the ships when I began the playlist, but I think I am pretty much there actually, and they've all been solid. They've all been really good representations, even though they are 30 years old now. In some cases, they're all getting on for 30 years old at the time of filming. So, gotta hand it to them. Playmates built them really, really well, and they clearly sold well because it's been relatively straightforward to get hold of most of them. So they did really well in the 90s, I think, Playmates, with the Star Trek stuff, and there has been a do-over that they've done of the Enterprise D, I believe, as well. I need to just check where they're up to with that in terms of the modern license, because I might get hold of that to have a look at as well, so I can compare that with the original Enterprise D that we saw a while ago now. But I'll leave you there with this one for the time being, and I will see you again next week. Cheers for now.